this video, I want to walk you through the flow navigator, and specifically the RTL analysis, synthesis, and implementation stages. I feel the distinction between these three phases and what each of them do isn't discussed enough in beginner tutorials for how important it is to understand how they differ. So I'm going to use a very simple example here to talk through each of them. So what I have here is a simple VHDL project where all I'm doing is creating a simple 2-to-1 multiplexer, which is simply the hardware version of an if statement. I'm not going to dive into too many details in the VHDL, but we have our two inputs to the multiplexer, our 1-bit select, and our output. Then we have our process down here, which is simply a combinational block, which uses the all keyword. So we have to set it to VHDL 2008 over here in file properties. And all I'm saying is that is a simple if statement where if my select signal is 0, then I pass the 0 input to the output. Otherwise, I pass the multiplexer 1 input to the output. So this just creates a simple selector switch, which uses the select option to choose between the first and second inputs. If I come over here to the flow navigator and say that I want to open the elaborated design, Vivado will read my top design source, which is in this case just this 2-to-1 multiplexer source code, and try to understand what it is that I'm asking it to do. It will infer what I'm asking. And so in this case, it saw my code, saw that if statement, and said, I see that you want to create a multiplexer, which is a very standard digital electronics component. So I have my 2 bits of the input, I have my select signal, and I have my output. That's great, but FPGAs don't actually use multiplexers in their logic circuits. In their configurable logic blocks, they usually have lookup tables and registers. Since we're not using a clock, all we really have to work with are some lookup tables. And so while RTL analysis and the elaborated design has shown me that Vivado understands what I'm trying to create, it can't actually implement this specific multiplexer in the FPGA. For that, we need to synthesize the design. So now that I have seen this and I can say, yes, Vivado understands what I'm trying to create, I can go over here and run synthesis. That took a moment, about 21 seconds, but now we have successfully created our synthesized design. And so you can see down here that it's telling me that one lookup table was used to synthesize the design, but we can look at the schematic of the synthesized design by opening it. RTL analysis open for now. And now we can see our FPGA device itself, but nothing's actually in it. Nothing has been implemented into the design. It's only been synthesized so far. So we can come down here and choose the schematic. And if we look at this now, we can see that this looks quite a bit different because now we have some components that actually get used in the FPGA. So the FPGA has input buffers for each of the external inputs from outside of the FPGA coming in. Each of them gets a buffer. Then each of those comes into a lookup table, a 3-input lookup table, which you can click on and come to the truth table down here and look at the truth table of this lookup table. If we were to follow this logic, we would see that the result of what passes to the output, this logic creates our multiplexer select. And then we go through an output buffer, which goes to the output. So this all implements the actual hardware components that will be needed and available in our FPGA to actually create the design that we asked the Vivado tools to create. However, we haven't told it which lookup table to use. So if you come back to the device and you zoom in and you scroll around, you can see that there are many lookup tables all around the device. Lots of lookup tables. And so we haven't actually figured out which lookup table and which inputs and outputs we're going to be using to put this logic into our device, where to put it into the device, and how to wire up these external pins. So this is where we need our constraints. So if we open up our constraints, we can come here. We don't have any clock signals. This is where we get to choose how we want to wire up our ports. So we get to choose now which external components on our Zybo development board we want to use to implement this logic. So we we need two inputs for the multiplexer inputs. We need a select, and we need somewhere to send the output. What I'm going to do in this case is I'm going to use two push buttons as the multiplexer input. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy what this input is called, bring it over to the buttons, uncomment those, and then their default is button 0 and 1, and what I'm going to call them is mux in 0 and mux in 1. So then that aligns with our 2 bits of the input port. Then we want our select, and what I'm going to do for our select is use a switch. And we only need one of them, so I only want this one. And this is called the mux selector. And then we need somewhere to route this to the output. And so what I'm going to do is route this to the LED. And so I need to rename the LED to mux output. So now, if we want to go ahead, anytime you update any of the source files, including a constraint file, it'll say that our synthesized design is now out of date. So we can go ahead and close the design. We can close the RTL analysis as well. That's fine. And now what we need to do is we need to go through the implementation. It will redo the synthesis because we've updated our constraint files, and so that's fine. And now we just need to wait for our synthesis and implementation to run. Synthesis will look exactly the same because nothing that we changed in our constraint files impacts the synthesized design at all. So we just need to let this run, then we will take a look at the implemented design. Our implementation completed, and so now we can go ahead and open up that implemented design. And now you can see over here that we have this highlighted blue box, and we also have highlighted I/O pads. So if we come down here, we can see that we have an implemented lookup table. We can click on it, come to the truth table, and we see that same truth table that we had seen in our synthesized design. And we also have now our I/O pads. So if we zoom into these, we can see that we have implemented our multiplexer input here, multiplexer input 0. Scroll down, our select, and our output. You can also turn on routing, and you can see that we have all of our 3 inputs routed in and our output routed out. You can also zoom in and see, for instance, that buffer that we had seen in the schematic. We can also look at the implementation schematic, which in this case will look the same. And so now we have our fully implemented design, and we can go ahead and generate the bitstream to load this onto our FPGA board. Generate bitstream, again, launch on localhost. We can go back to Project Manager and keep an eye on the progress here. All right, that takes just a minute, and that is completed now. So now we can go ahead and open our hardware manager. This is down here in Program and Debug, where we actually interface with our target. So now we can go ahead and switch over to a view of the board. Right now it's off. We have everything configured for JTAG on this jumper, and for a USB power on this jumper over here. We can go ahead and just turn on our power. And when we do that, nothing happens because it hasn't been programmed yet. So now if we come back over to Vivado and say open target, we can auto connect, and the system should automatically recognize the digital board that we have with the Zinc 7020. We can click over here. If you look here, it says not programmed yet. So we can right click, program device. It will automatically choose the bitstream that we just generated. So we can go ahead and say program. It will program that bitstream. And now you can see that the green done LED is lit up, showing that the bitstream has been loaded successfully. So now what this program did, if we look back at our schematic to remind ourselves, is that actually, let's go back to the RTL analysis, because that's a little bit more human readable. Okay, if we go back to sources, open up our constraints just to remind ourselves, we have the buttons choosing mux in and the switches choosing the mux select. So if we look at our schematic, our switch will choose, if our switch is in 0, the off position, we will select button 0 to pass to the LED. And if it's in position number 1, then our second button will be passed to the LED. So we can look at that. And so right now our slide switch 0 is in the off position. And that means that if whatever we do with our 0 button is what will be passed to the first LED. So we can go ahead and push this, and that does in fact get passed. And if we choose to push button 2, nothing happens because we have not selected to pass button 2 to the LED. Then we can turn this on and do the opposite. Now if we do button 0, nothing happens. If we do button 1, that now gets passed. When you're all done, you can either turn off power, or this program B button will wipe the bitstream and the done LED will go off, and we're all done with our development board. So that was a really simple example, but it did show the whole process through the entire Flow Navigator process, and also show the distinction between the RTL analysis, the synthesis, and the implementation stages.